being the moderator, it would not be fair that I start speaking on the foremost. So I think I'll ask Ms. Malik, CFO, Chandigarh Smart City Limited, to what we wanted to ask you, the panel wants to ask you as the CFO of Chandigarh Smart City Limited, how have you utilized your experiential learning from the global best practices to manage the financial resources efficiently and support urban transformation initiatives? Ms. Malik, please.
Thank you. Sir, so with the Smart City mission, I would like to address the primary concern first is the funds allocatable by Government of India was a limited funds. The pre-allocation of fund was already decided that this much amount will go for operation, the administrative expenses, and this much go for the projects. However, the guidelines were quite liberal. Liberal in the sense that it allows the ample freedom to the company to go on for triple P model or to go on funding model. Unfortunately, as of now, we in the Chandigarh was not able to get through any of such kind of project. There are two reasons primarily for this. One is the grant issued by the Government of India was quite sufficient for handling the projects at the city size of Chandigarh, which is only 114 square kilometer. So there was ample of funds for the development projects. However, there is still a scope of various other projects where we can add value by including triple Ps. Like we have developed a ICCC model. But I guess most of you might not be aware about ICCC as of now, though it's a common phenomenon now in India as well, wherein we do the centralized monitoring of city infrastructure, city roads, traffic, and other valuable assets of the city. And we do certain analysis of data out of that. We do certain decision making. Maybe the change of shift of red lights. You might have seen that the analysis has resulted into some reshift of roundabout instead of lights in Chandigarh, if you have been gone through here. So these are the analytical tools that we are using. But if we see globally, there are much more that has been happening. There are a number of applications that government has taken on portal for the benefit of citizen. Say we talk about a Hong Kong facility where the medical aid is available on a single click app. So these are the public-private partnership with the involvement of Smart Cities initiative. And this is what we have learned, and we are in the process of implementing the same for Chandigarh.
So, Ms. Malik, what I would like to ask you is that as CFO, आपको क्या लगता है अभी तक जो भी projects चंडीगढ़ स्मार्ट सिटी लिमिटेड में हुए हैं, उसमें से most VFM यानी value for money project कौन सा होगा? If you can give me, since you are a CFO, so for ultimately you would want value for money, and VFM is a standard concept of business industry. I would like your comments on that. Name one project.
It's a very diplomatic kind of question, and I'll answer it diplomatically. Because in government segment, the value is most of the time a social value. It's not more of an economic value. So if we talk in terms of value addition, then 24/7 water supply is one of the value added facility, which is a lot of saving in the scarce natural resource, as well as the best available facility to the citizens when they can open tap anytime and they can get the water, though the project is under implementation. But this is one of the value for money project. Second is I consider ICCC, which is evident. It has been reflected number of times in the newspapers that the traffic police has generated over 10 lakh rupees of challans every day with the help of the infrastructure. So this is also one of the value added facility, but this might be considered as you can say a threat for the law and order, where we are able to see actually how much was the challan that would have been generated earlier and what is being there when the fair challaning is being done. So these are the things that I would like to add.
Chलिए, we'll make the panel more interesting. हमारे साथ we have Mr. Ramesh Gupta, DDG NIC Chandigarh. Gupta साहब, जो मुझे set of questions दिए गए हैं, उसमें से the best question which I feel is कि what emerging technologies or trends in information and communication technology जो आप सोचते हैं is going to play a major role in future of urban transformation. ये काइंडली बताएं आप.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it will be a lot of interest to our audience.
Because, good afternoon to everybody. So this just you had in standard 1 to 3 question, just how to provide the citizen services to the resident of the Chandigarh. The how we will use major innovative in this. We have only the Chandigarh city is have a LiDAR data, LiDAR survey data that was since I had joined in Chandigarh since last 1.5 year back. But in this data, LiDAR data was surveyed in year 2018-19. Now the best part of this, we using this LiDAR data, we using this LiDAR technology, LiDAR data, we are giving the best utility to the department as well as citizen as well as industry. And how it is, I will explain the 3 part. For the first part of the, it is a part of the citizen. We had provided the basically made citizen services to the resident or citizen of the Chandigarh, even a single umbrella. More than 250, 300 services are placed at a single platform, only single page, which shows what document has to be required, where to be applied, how much fees has to be deposited, and everything. One, this is one. Second, how it is possible for the industry. We had basically the major challenge in since last 1 to 1, we had captured this. This is because from Government of India mandate to integrate industry park as IILP. This is, we have a LiDAR data. I will surprise and everything I will disclose here when we are planning to do that, because earlier in initially stage I ignored the industrial park. Then we thought we have to do that, and within 20 days we had worked together with our team, 3 or 4 person, and we had take LiDAR data. Now thing is that in LiDAR data, there is an industry department, there is not a single database like they can explain where is the industry and which are the industry plant. That is very serious issue. From the basis of LiDAR data, we take industry park LiDAR map and give to the department. There are 3 major stakeholders in Chandigarh. One is a state office, second is housing board, and third is industry department for that allotment. Only the major part allotment is done by the state office. We had taken the data from that and mapped. We had taken the data from Chandigarh housing map. But surprising, there are more than 50% data, plots are vacant. Nobody is bothering about that. We have a data and we had given to the, we had integrated. Then we had seriously taken care which plot is vacant, and this is a number we had given to the state, and we had full team from the higher authority to give the pressure to them. Individual data, where the data is mapped in file or not in digitized and like that, we had taken on the basis. If we have not in LiDAR data, I'm surprising. If we have no, because in LiDAR, all the imaginary are there. If one imaginary is open, so I ask you, what is there? At least something is there. Either you say it is a vacant, it is not allotted, or either it should be there, it is allotted. On the basis of this is a very practical, we had created a IILB with this industry park, and we had submitted to the ministry, and that is appreciation is given because this is a totally imaginary part.
हाँ, तो ये तो एक टेक्नोलॉजी हुई ना.
हाँ, second.
हाँ, और नेक्स्ट बताइए.
Next.
This is really appreciable जो आप बता रहे हैं.
Yes.
But apart from this, there will be more
for the
things
part of the urban planning. Now we are working on that. If any department, basically in Chandigarh, everything is going to the planning department, urban planning. That is so-called urban planning. If urban planning have a scheme, if we want to, for just example of recently, they want to establish a health center at some village. Earlier it was a village, now it is the urban area. So they had given us the demand. We had from the LiDAR map, we had taken care of that and see the data, but how much space is available, where the Punjab, because in Chandigarh there is a boundary issue also. Punjab and UT boundary are there. So on the basis of that, that location is on the total boundary. On the boundary. So on the basis of LiDAR data, without going to the location, all the urban planning is done through this mapping. This is a really innovative. Third, there are 2 more parts. For the education sector, like this is the first in Chandigarh, and we had got it the award also in that case. For economic weaker section admission, we had mapped with their residencies because they had three location, three category. It is 0 to 1 kilometer, 2 to 3 kilometer, and above 3 kilometer distance. Because the candidate of the weaker section will be first preference will be given. Choice is to 0 to 1. On the basis of that, we had mapped all the Chandigarh sector for the distance wise. This is a major innovation. One more, we are working on that. All the property related data, like in urban planning, house tax and property. We are mapping with all the house tax property details with this GIS mapping, and on the map.
This is very interesting.
We are able to know who has paid the property tax, who has not paid. That has shown in the combination of the color, and how much revenue we can increase. One more. In second part in that, in LiDAR data, if we have this building is in a commercial building, but property tax is a residential. We are also getting from that. From this data. Only.
Excellent.
One more linkage is we are providing for. This is a very serious issue. We are not able to complete that issue, but we are in the process of doing that. Electricity connection. Like, we are mapping with the electricity department with this data, urban property data. If the consumption is so high, it shows it may be commercial. But in the electricity bill, it has been shown it is a residential. We are tracking about this also. This is the major innovation we are working. More. In Chandigarh, you have see.
ये जो आप कह रहे हैं, ये प्रॉब्लम हरियाणा में आई थी मेरे पास। अभी मैं बात कर रहा था, फरीदाबाद के टाउन प्लानर साहब बैठे हुए हैं। We've had this issue earlier, मैं गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया में डेपुटेशन पे था, तो वहाँ पे तो उसमें ये प्रॉब्लम हमें आई थी, कमर्शियल इंडस्ट्रियल यूज, गवर्नमेंट यूज वाली, ये पॉलिसी वाली। बट एज जो आप कह रहे हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी विल बी अ बिग हेल्प इन दिस।
वन मोर, अभी पूरे चंडीगढ़ में साइकिल ट्रैक, all the cycle track had been made by taking the data, LiDAR data survey, because engineering department need not to go to the place to take the dimension and like that. Only we were providing the data from the GIS. We had created just recently GIS cell, and from the LiDAR.
अच्छा, मेरा एक आपसे डिफरेंट सवाल है कि हम जैसे अभी we are talking about experiential learning, leveraging, तो immediately आपके अगल बगल में you have Panchkula and Mohali. How much of experiential learning they have done from you? आप तो कर ही रहे हो, और how would you say that उनका are they of the same level? तो इस पे I would like you to say something.
Because we had already, क्योंकि we had achieved this goal which I had said within this year only, and we are making capacity building with our also any team with the NIC Haryana and NIC Punjab. We are all the project which are this innovative idea, we are giving the idea to that also. They are also in the process. Even Punjab is also working on the GIS one map module. We are working on the one map module. GI Punjab is also working. Haryana is some part of that, working in that way. They are also working. But we had in Chandigarh, we had LiDAR data, complete data is with the Chandigarh only, Chandigarh city. One more question: on the basis of this is a very serious issue for the creating a UT boundary. Recently, when we had seen the earlier boundary, and one major practical like Max Hospital, everybody knows, and Max Hospital is in Punjab. And when we see our data, and it found that there's a half part of the Max is coming in the Punjab and half part of the. And we sir, our advisor sir and Home Secretary sir is very keen, and he's also Secretary IT also, and they had taken a meeting, and now team is at present one of the team from here only goes that place also. They are working so that from the 31st onward we will fix up the boundary on the possible LiDAR data. If we have working on the GS, we only that we are able to know this possibility. Otherwise, it is not possible.
Excellent. Now, of course, I also have Mr. Rajesh Prasad, Zonal Manager PNB. Without bankers or banks rolling, nothing is possible. You've seen the automobile revolution which has come about. I see in my own state, my own constables, others, they all own decent vehicles. और जब पता लगा तो पीछे it's all the loans or soft loans provided by the banks. In a way, I can blame him for traffic congestion. Same, I can say growth also. But now my question would be that Prasad साहब आप ये बताएं कि what are the innovative financial solutions or products that PNB has introduced, inspired by global practices, which can promote urban development and growth in this area?
Sir, thank you. And delegates, PNB is one of the biggest lender, and that we started from this geography. We are also the SLVC State Level Bankers Committee convener in the state of Punjab, Chandigarh, UT, and Haryana. Sir, with the growing GDP, as you know, the finance is like blood in the vein, arteries and vein. Without finance, many startups who conceive many great ideas cannot be materialized. So, rightly said, with the innovations and 100 smart cities coming one by one since 2016 or so, if I am not wrong, we are associated in very PPP model projects. We are on the lines of stand-up and startup projects envisaged by Government of India. That is even collateral-free loans up to 10 crores under PPP model, up to 5 crores on individual-based model for the startups who are registered without collateral. Number two, under PPP model, under tripartite agreement, we are giving project loans to HAM projects like in roadways, under BOT projects, under DBFO project, design, build, finance and operate, like we are associated somewhere in metro projects in Bengaluru or otherwise. So apart from the traditional MSME loans up to 100 crore rupees, which can be sanctioned at Chandigarh and so many centers pan India, we are knowing the need of the entrepreneurs, startups, government entities, and otherwise. Earlier, up to 200% collateral was required. We have reduced you to 100%, then 50%, then 40%, then 30%. And on need base, it is below 30% also from different committees. Number one. Number two, earlier, concentration of loan sanction was there at some places, including the headquarters. Our headquarters is in New Delhi. Now, the country is divided into 22 zones, headed by GMs and chief general managers, and they have been vested the power up to 100 crore for immediate sanction per reference, and within a tat of 3 to 7 days. If otherwise, papers are okay. Number two, large corporate branches are placed at Chandigarh and other metro cities of the country, which can process the loan beyond 100 crores up to 1000 crore or like. And under PPP and tripartite agreement or government guarantee or guarantee by urban local bodies, municipal commissions, etc., we are very much able to study that project, to be part of the project. Number one. Number two, the concept of that it will take more time. We are very conscious. The board is very conscious for TAT, turnaround time. Number three, earlier all the processes were manual. As you better know, our delegates know that technology usage is very high in banking and finance sector, sir. Yes. All the technologies, let it be the core banking solution which came in the year 2000, it was only the Punjab National Bank, the then chairman and managing director Sri S.S. Kohli from this geography only dared to implement core banking, whereas other peers were very much apprehensive whether it will fail, it will disturb, it will be disruptive. Next, the digital adoption is so high in banking and finance because we deal in finance. There is a microsecond reaction time. See, our database and our data centers and the DRS. Recently in Chennai, one of the bank is having a data center at Chennai. They shifted within 15 minutes to their secondary site in Mumbai in the recent flood-like situation. So we are adopting technology basis on the need of the industry, need of the citizen, and we fully appreciate that with the growing economy and going towards 5 trillion economy and beyond in this Amrit Kal, envisaged by the Department of Finance Ministry and the Government of India, we are knowing the value of our role, the TAT, collaterals, supporting without collaterals, the government projects, the PPP model, the BOT model, the BTO model, the DBFO model, the boot model and alike. Thanks, sir.
बहुत अच्छा बताया आपने. But since you are a banker, so my natural question would be, जो भी loans आप देते हैं, जैसे Nalini was talking about social cost or social dividend which we get from that, as a banker आप तो ये देखते होंगे ना कि जो आप loans दे रहे हैं, what is the ROI or return on investment? So I would like you comment that जो आप projects finance कर, although smart city is a very young thing, 2015-16 से शुरू हुआ है, we have not even spent a decade, so many things cannot be maybe measured, but still my first question would be, and second I have one more for you. तो आप पहले ये बताइए कि how do you feel कि जो loans आपने दिए उस पे आपको return on investment किस तरह का आ रहा है बैंक के लिए?
Sir, we banker, at least PNB is 129 years old and we do have the legacy and experience, and we do also work heavily on the risk models. Very complex risk model basis on Basel III requirements, and our regulator, the RBI, is so stringent in putting in place the strictures and guidelines, and that played greatly during the COVID, when many banks in the many geography in this in the world failed like anything. None of the bank in India failed. Yes, due to some issues, many banks merged into one another, but it again made us very strong and prominent. Number one. Number two, for rate of interest calculation, we do have ALCO committee. What is the asset liability mismatch? What are the buckets? Because we primarily take the surplus money available in your pocket, in your household, from a particular geography. And by statute, we are bound to invest up to 60% of that money in the development of that geography only. It is known as the CD ratio, credit to deposit ratio, which must be by statute be at least 60% or more. Number two. Number three, we are very sensitive on the rate of return, the performance of the asset that is we have created through our loans and advances, and few of the assets become non-performing as well. Means neither the interest nor the principal is coming back. During the COVID time, I must mention that with the support of Government of India, we have given, forcefully given, by calling the entrepreneurs and MSMEs, you will not go bad. Wait. Tranche 1, GCL 1, GCL Tranche 2, GCL Tranche 3, GCL Tranche 4. The interest part we have converted into FITL, means funded interest term loan. And even they are going bad, we have restructured them under BIFOR or otherwise. We government, under directions from Government of India and under the regulatory guidelines from RBI, we managed that none of the MSMEs should go bad during the force majeure situation. It is an excellent example, and none of the bank in India have ever failed during that COVID period. We are sensitive to ROI, and this ROI is linked to MCLR, some through BP, RLR as fixed by the RBI, the regulator, and our overheads we calculate on at least 10 to 20 parameters, and basis on that we keep some spread. And we know that even after taking all the measures, the loans may be non-performing in due course. So we make a provision up to 100%, maybe from our profits or otherwise. And after doing that, we are also very sensitive that under the umbrella of public enterprises, we are not only the profit-making entity like our private partners. Unlike our private partners, we are also in the social domain. We know that we are a partner in the growth of Indian economy, and even if catering, even if we're taking into account that 5 to 6% of our asset may turn bad, making the provisions, we are doing the loans and making the profits. Thank you.
Excellent. In fact, जो second question मैं पूछना चाह रहा था, आपने partly answer कर दिया because you are a PSU banker, but we have many private banks, private entities also. मेरा comment आपसे question ये था कि how much of the role they are playing in a similar urban growth? Private banks are also there. They are also big players. Huge capital base उनका है. Notably, HDFC can be an example. So as a banker, I would like that comment from you. कि what role, apart from PSU, private banks are playing in growth of urban transformation?
इसका आंसर ऐसे देता हूं मैं. कल कुरुक्षेत्र के एक मॉडल गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में गया बहुत दिनों के बाद. बहुत बड़ा स्कूल है. I was surprised to see that all the classes are smart with big LCD LED panels. बैठने के टेबल चेयर स्मार्ट हैं. कंप्यूटर लैब अल्ट्रा मॉडर्न है. लाइब्रेरीज, मैथमेटिकल प्रैक्टिकल्स, और ये सब मैं देख के प्रिंसिपल साहब से पूछा तो उन्होंने बोला कि यहाँ से 20 बच्चे IITians गए हैं लास्ट ईयर, जिसमें से 5 IIT दिल्ली और कानपुर में गए. ऑफ लेट देखिए गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर इज इवॉल्विंग लाइक एनीथिंग. मैंने ये एग्जांपल इसलिए लिया, विथ द ग्रोइंग पॉपुलेशन, growing economy, growing aspirations to grow up to 5 trillion economy and beyond in the Amrit Kal, every entity being in public or private or even going beyond like NBFCs and microfinance companies, everybody has a role to play and they do have their own space. Number one. Number two, we are very much aware the challenges by the peer groups, and that is very beneficial for us because of late, since last 5 to 10 years, we have evolved strategically, we have upgraded ourselves, we have remolded ourselves, we are reactive rather than we are proactive rather than reactive, and we are also price sensitive, we are also tax sensitive, we are also customer service centricity is there. So though some private sector entities are more or less with us, but we find a very good space for ourselves. And definitely PSU, which are number 12s now, 12 in number now, including SBI, Punjab National Bank, Canada Bank, Bank of Baroda, and Bank of India, Central Bank, we are committed to serve the country, serve the stand-ups, serve the startups to grow and to contribute to the Indian economy, number one. Number two, you will be surprised to know, and no surprise, I think you are already aware that in greenfield projects, none of my means Punjab National Bank and alike, none of the peer banks are supporting the entrepreneurs in the greenfield project, even be rupees 1 crore or 100 crore. And you will be surprised, our delegates will be surprised to know that they come into picture only when public sector banks have seeded any startups and greenfield project, and that has run for 3 to 5 years or more, and they are now able to fruit, or even they have fruited for 1 year or so, they are in the business of taking over. Now the question arises, while discussing with a secretary or joint secretary level discussion, I have asked very sarcastically, sir, are they actually growing by 24% in the credit, and are they putting their money in the greenfield and whitefield and greyfield projects? So just shifting 100 crore rupees from PNB to some counter private sector bank, is it a real growth of the Indian economy? Is it a real help to the MSMEs and startups? No. In my words, it is no. So we have the privilege, and with the support of Government of India and our regulator, we are bound to serve the Indian entrepreneurs, and we will keep it on doing. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad. That was quite exhaustive. Now, I'll just touch upon some of the practices which we have been using in my field, that is law and order and policing, including one or two examples which are not really from my field, but adoption of global best practices. Many of you from Chandigarh, if and around, you've been to Simla, you've seen the problems which we face, the traffic congestion. So one of the biggest things we have done is we have picked up the ropeway project which was in Bolivia, La Paz city. Now the same is being similar. That has been adapted and replicated. It's a 3,000 crore project, of course, being aided by international organizations, banks and Government of India to ease the traffic congestion. Because if you want to preserve the city of Shimla, more vehicles are not the answer. More roads I cannot create. Especially the recent disasters, if you were to see the massive rains which we had, that has made us learn this lesson that we cannot build more roads, we cannot build more cities. So we are trying, it's a 3,000 crore project, something on lines of a metro. But of course, metro can't be there. So it's a very ambitious project, but it's a global best practices. There's a ropeway corporation which has started implementing it. It'll have 3 lines called, I think, Sidar and a few things. Some names are there. So that is being done. So maybe some of you can say that this could have been done early. So that is one global best practices. Secondly, Himachal is not a very largely urban state, but we have certain urban clusters and smaller urban centers. But let me tell you, the aspiration of the people there is very, very urban because the literacy rate is very high, people are very well educated and people are quite demanding. Although we are near Punjab and Haryana, but the policing which we do is very, very different. You would have experienced, people are very well behaved, very polite, they talk to you nicely. And one of the best practices which we very firmly believe in, my colleague is sitting here, she'll bear me out, is that technology is a major force multiplier for us. Major force multiplier. We have realized, in fact, it was around 10, 12 years back in this area when we started with the basic working of a police station, we took it entirely online. We were one of the first. Of course, Haryana has moved very well. If you see the emergency response system 112, we were the first state to adopt that. Yes, others have progressed very well in that. Haryana has given a wonderful model of 112. These are all citizen-centric services. She was talking about traffic challans. There has always been a complaint about element of the human element and the corruption, etc., etc. Now, first step which we took was banks like PNB or SBI, they came us and they gave us point of POS machines. So if you are issued with a traffic challan, which will come on your phone, you have the option to pay it that no cash payment at all. But we are trying to even move that simply that you make the payment on the website or an app. So the human involvement totally goes. Use of body-worn cameras by policemen. So that if any kind of dispute is there, Chandigarh police is using what she was talking about, traffic challans. One of the best example is the intelligent traffic management systems, ITMS, which we have deployed, they have automatic number plate reading cameras and various other violations which are pre-programmed. For example, jumping the red light, not wearing the seat belt, having certain addition. That is programmable. And then there is no dispute. No one fights with technology. No one fights with hard evidence. And as she was saying, many of our ITMS systems have paid the cost within less than a year. The installation cost has been very well paid by them. Similarly, now of late, we're talking about urbanization. The present government, they have started out, we would always classify police stations based on crime. Ki ye crime hai, ye hoga. Now we have started out on thinking that needs are different. I will give you an example. All of you know Manali. It's a small subdivision. But annually we host around 35 to 40 lakh tourists in a year. Now, managing that floating population is not very easy. It becomes a big urban center. So government has embarked upon, in fact, the department is doing it. We are classifying our police stations we have prepared a matrix. For example, Manali would be urban. Again, it will be majorly tourist in certain number of months so that we can deploy the resources intelligently in that period. It is not required for entire 12 months. So this kind of classes, some areas we do not have law and order problems, but I have a major tourist footfall in some areas inside of Kinnaur. Because now, many of you would have seen the Atal Tunnel which has come on Rohtang. The daily flow is around 10 to 14,000 vehicles. It is opening up the Trans-Himalayan side. The police there was simply not prepared to deal with that. Now they are having to deal with that because the road is open, the vehicles are better, the roads are better. Technology is helping. Technology is also creating a challenge. One of the biggest challenges which we are facing as a police officer is the impact of social media. It helps also, but it creates a problem. There's a principle called the butterfly principle. Some of you must have heard that butterfly flaps its wings somewhere in Indonesia and there'll be a quake somewhere in some other continent. What I mean to say that one problem, 2 years ago, we had a small problem with some Sikh pilgrims in some part of Himachal. And within seconds, believe me, it was viral all over the net. And even before some people could react, somewhere in Paonta or other, wherever the places we had tensions. Now, we all have to adapt how to fight all these things. Things happened in microseconds. The bank mein keh rahe the microseconds, of course, they are the best example, but we also face it. Within minutes, a thing spreads. We are not being able to react. So technology, best practices are helping us also. They are forming a major challenge for us. Yes, digitization of record, etc. is all moving. We are coming out. Like Punjab, we also face a problem of battling with drugs. On that account, again, we have used technology. We have developed a drug-free app in which you can give information, your number or name, etc. will be kept confidential. We are trying to fight it out. So that's what I wanted to show, that technology as a force multiplier is one of the major concepts. Second global best practice which we have, many of you would have heard about, is called it's a theory of policing called the broken window concept. Srishti knows about it. That you should not tolerate small infractions. This was perfected by New York police. Now we try to, this example is that somebody in the colony, there's one boy, he's a delinquent, wo patthar fenkta hai, our concept is that aaj wo khidki todega, kal if he's not checked then and there, tomorrow he'll grow and graduate into it. So first step is that we try to counsel them, educate them. If not, then take an action. This has worked. A few months back, we held an online PTM with almost 17,000 students all across the state. Simply talking to them about drugs, the problems which they face, what they want to say, what the schools are supposed to do under various acts, how the teachers are empowered. This could only happen with technology. So these are, technology, yes, it is one of the major concepts which one is using. Then traffic, she has talked about. All of you are seeing how. But then the urbanization is very good. But then I remember the good old days of Chandigarh when the roundabouts, there were no traffic lights. Many of you would remember. Now the pressure is increasing. I'm touching on a different side, that we think that if you use words as technology or artificial intelligence, machine learning, it will solve all our problems. No, it will not solve our problems. There are certain old concepts, example, decongesting the area or living in harmony with nature. Uninterrupted urbanization is not a solution. We are here to talk about urban innovations, but what is the USP of Chandigarh? आप बताइए, मुझसे बैठे हुए. Tell me the unique selling point of Chandigarh. Green city. Green city means all of us like, what do you like? Open spaces, plants, nice sky, blue sky. We are all creatures of nature. So if you just fill it with concrete, big, huge buildings, nobody likes that. It's time that apart from whatever project we do, we have to see this green concept, not just for ticking it. Like in London, they do that your house frontage has to have this much patch of garden, these many plants is compulsory. So these are things which it's high time, especially I'm coming from a very green state which we want to, and we are pushing for EVs, electric vehicles, etc., and we realize that we hold the lungs and all the rivers, the pure water comes from the hills, and this is very more relevant for me because even in the hills, people are simply aping the plains. Plains are different, hills are different. They are two different worlds. And then as I always talk about, that my state needs to it is talking about, but it's not being accepted that yes, we need to be given carbon credits for giving you fresh air, keeping the lungs of the country all such states, not only us, wherever we are there, it's high time we have to see this whole entity as one. And urbanization, of course, has to proceed. Most of us are there, but I do not know future whether it's a solution or not. So I just illustrated some concepts which we are using. Yes, technology major, and this counseling. One small example, again, I'll give you a very small practice which we have adopted is women victim support officers. It's a very niche area. I mean, when do you come to police or when do you go to a doctor? Only when you are unwell, you are in a distress, you have some kind of a problem, then only. So the first thing is you have to dealt with very empathetically, very softly. So we use some women officers in court, especially in cases where children are involved or sexual offences cases, so that these women could be with them. They were trained, so they could counsel, they could just support them. Simply going in a court and deposing itself is very challenging for a child or a lady. And you all see in the system the kind of questions that we are asked. So they were commended by the court that this was a practice we adopted. Yes, we have many other challenges, but despite we are trying, and this is the age of internet, so everything comes very fast to you and we should adopt. Now with this, I'll ask one question to Mr. Gupta. ये तो NIC के DD जी हैं. One of the major growth engines is the internet connectivity and internet speeds. How do you see that in this region? Because हमारे जितनी ICT की हम बात कर रहे हैं, सारा growth तो उसकी speed पे होगा. We are not the best in the world, definitely. But इस region में how is it? How do you आप कैसे foresee? NIC की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं. NIC के अलावा private players भी हैं. I would like you to comment.
Actually, in the first question, I forget this answer also, and I'm supposed to give this answer also for innovation only. For this, like internet connectivity, we had observed in Chandigarh itself very offices, maybe that is beyond secretariat and are using broadband and like that. And we are using huge amount on that. We did just now and under proposal, because smart city in smart city of Chandigarh, we had overlaid lease line in other city. In using technology for the this optical fiber, where the smart city has been already laid out, we had laid a layer on this GIS map, and we had calculated the offices around last week we had done this exercise. Suppose 53 offices we have, and in 53 offices and more than 60 government schools where they are using internet. And we had calculated the distance from my office only. Those offices which are working on the broadband need optical fiber lease line to get the high speed interconnectivity. And we had put up a proposal for doing that because we had laid a optical fiber layer on our map, and we had calculated, suppose we have a government college. From here they are not able to tell how much money has to be done for lease line and like that. We had all the government offices as calculated on the basis of this layer and distance, because we know in radar data where is the government college, and we know where is this optical fiber is going on. The distance is calculated, and we had overall put up this proposal for doing that, because the money in financial made us. The approximate, if we put up this lease line on that distances we had calculated, and at present scenario they are paying to the different vendor. Even 1 year cost, only 1 year cost, we will get throughout Lofilong lease line connection on from that. Yes. Second one issue for first question, we had put up asset management system. We have created asset management data from your site. You in next coming some days, you will be available to know from our LiDAR data or GIS map which are the plots which is vacant for the auction, open land, and how much is, where is that location and area and like that. We had also incorporated in that.
Thank you. Now next, I'd go back to Ms. Malik, that as a CFO and based on your experience of Chandigarh Smart City, what advice or recommendation you have for other similar smart cities, or maybe the mistakes you've made or good practices you've done? What would you like to share?
All right, thank you, sir. What I'm going to discuss, people need patience to listen to it. First of all, I would like to dig into the basic concept of why we are sitting here and why this discussion is being taken place. Because from last almost a decade, we have been fixed an image in our mind about the development. Development, not sustainability. So that's why considering development, as I says, that it's a just creating huge buildings, large road network, infrastructure, this and that, without looking into the actual sustainability. Sustainability as to live longer. I'm not talking about financial sustainability here, though I'm as a CFO supposed to, but I'm talking about the projects that are purely considered as a development project, which are not at all a sustainable project. Now, since the load of sustainability has been shifted on the shoulder of various municipal corporation and smart cities, even our previous extension was a no-cost extension. It has been said that the mission is extended, but you have to ensure your sustainability on your own. So now here the question comes, how sustainability can be obtained? As sir says, that they are working quite nicely on LiDAR data. Smart City is also working on SUV mapping. We have also developed the entire city level infrastructure. So what is the use of this unless we are not doing resource sharing? Why we are spending X amount from this department, Y amount from this department on the same object, when we can have the resource sharing, when we can better get the ROI from each and every investment. For example, what suggestion I can have for other smart cities, which I have also proposed in my business model for implementation in the Chandigarh, we have underground utility mapping data with us, which we want to float on our ICCC platform for the entire departments of Chandigarh. And what we expect is that whenever any department comes up for some kind of infrastructure work, suppose some new lines has to be put on for, say, water or sewage, so they have to put on their proposed work on that map first. And whosoever affected department should get the notification that your fiber lines will be affected, your water lines will be affected, your gas lines will be affected, unless they provide an alternate solution or the NOC to execute the work. That work should not get a go-ahead. This is the kind of infrastructure with the enablement of IT we are focusing in future to, one, save the resources. Next thing is the data sharing, the information sharing, and the optimal utilization of resources. And we as a smart city would like to work as a base data monitoring system at city level to ensure the optimal utilization of government funds. So ROI will definitely come when this kind of repetition of task on same line time and again can be avoided. Thank you.
On my question, I will. I think maybe question or just I'm maybe wrong or I will just confirm from your side. Just as you had earlier said, using the technology, I must compliment your department by using the technology. I think nowadays the fraud rates and crime detection are very less time using technology. Just example for 2 days earlier, I had read in the newspaper and I'm just quoting, maybe wrong or right, on the using, that's why I want to share my heart says I must share. Just for this Rajasthan Khan for Gugamadi murder case, only I think the technology, using the technology department, you must, and everybody must surprise, कि जो criminal थे, within a just I heard within 7 or 14 minutes, they entered in the guest house and your department has captured that. I think that is only possible by using the technology. So that's a must. I must compliment to the your department also and other department. Using the technology in the right way, in a right direction is a very good concept. And in this scenario, like we are using AI and like that, this is the only that can be used in both the way. You can use in a bad shape or you can use in the right direction. That is why you must using the technology in a right way and right direction is our major.
मैंने आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा In fact, last जब रेंज हुई थी, we tried this on, अभी तो ऐप we are formulating Google से हमारी बात चल रही है, so that real time we can give you कि ये roads closed हैं, यहाँ पर नहीं है, यहाँ पे fines है, ये हैं. That project we are starting on Saturday. I have TRL के साथ हमारी एक presentation इस पे scheduled है. पहले हमने सोशल मीडिया में ये किया उस समय, मैप्स देकर रियल टाइम दैट ओके दीज रोड्स आर क्लोज, प्लीज टेक दीज आर द पॉसिबल डाइवर्जन्स, बट वो मैप बना के किए. ऐप पे वो नहीं आ पाया है. और one area which is moving ahead is जिसमें टेक्नोलॉजी यूज इज वेरी मैक्सिमम इज साइबर फोरेंसिक्स. In fact, forensics works on the there's a principle called the Locard's principle of exchange. मतलब if two things come into contact with each other, some trace will be left behind by this person. Similarly, in the cyber world, some or the other trace will be left behind by the cyber criminal or XYZ, which we have to. But the challenge is yes, training our people and the resources. But some of the areas are lucky. You'll be very surprised that last year we recruited about not much. 1,200 constables, and out of that we had around 30 people who were holding BTech or AMI degrees, and various MSc and very highly educated people. They are coming into at least degrees they have. So you have to make use of them, and we've just started a project of cross skilling, again technology based. वो PMIs, कल परसों हमारी एक मीटिंग चल रही थी. One of the states which has done wonders in this is Kerala. जैसे सारे हमारे जैसे कई आप लोग के सैलरी एप्स होंगे, कुछ होंगे. केरला हैज कम आउट विथ ऐप कॉल्ड स्पार्क. उसका नाम स्पार्क है. दैट इज बेसिकली इट इज स्टेट पर्सनल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिपोजिटरी फॉर केरला. उसमें सारा आपकी लीव, योर पे, योर एवरीथिंग कम्स टू. यू हैव अ यूनिक आईडी नंबर. वंस यू एंटर, ऑल योर डिटेल्स आर देयर, एजुकेशन, सब कुछ. सो मेनी पार्ट्स ऑफ दिस कंट्री आर लीव फ्रॉगिंग, एंड यस, टेक्नोलॉजी is a major game changer. I think if we have time, then maybe we can ask the house to any comments or any questions from the enlightened members of the house. अगर आप कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं, तो please feel free to comment or ask any of us anything. We'll be more than happy to share with you.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
While I see a lot of initiative taking place in a smart city, I find still to the primary and secondary education level, many of these things should be taught as part of curriculum. For example, most of the deaths we have due to traffic accidents, and traffic rules are nowhere as a part of curriculum with a qualifying exam has not come into the system. The same problem today we are facing across India while cleaning up is happening. Sukha kachra, gila kachra, 90% people don't know and they still throw it. If it is being taught from the kindergarten, that happens in Japan's school or somewhere. So the consciousness will start building, so at least with the next generation, it will be within. Today nobody feels ashamed when he crosses the red line. Whereas in other country, the guy will be not because of the policing, it become part of their consciousness. So taking this journey to the education level is one of the missing initiative, which creates the ethical value as a part of citizen. What should be the cleanliness, or what should be traffic rules, or even other ethical values, which are missing right now with the generation.
आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा. I agree with you 110%. In 2003, when I was a young SP, I had gone on a program for 1 month program to the US. I spent in a couple of states. My program was कम्युनिटी एंड लॉ एनफोर्समेंट इंटरफेस. उसमें आई वेंट टू अ प्राइमरी स्कूल, जो आप कह रहे हैं. तो उस प्राइमरी स्कूल में देयर वाज अ चार्ट. इट सेड, उसमें फोटो लगी थी लोगों की. इट सेड दिस इज द पोस्टमैन, देन देयर वाज अ पुलिसमैन, देन देयर वाज अ पैरामेडिक, देन देयर वाज अ ग्रीन ग्रोसर जो सब्जी बेचता है. तो लिखा था वी शुड रेस्पेक्ट दिस पीपल फॉर दे मेक आवर लाइव्स बेटर. मैंने आके देखा, अब उसके करीब 2003 के, तो 20 साल हो गए. अभी भी हम नहीं सिखाते अपने बच्चों को कि भाई इनका रोल है, या जो म्यूनिसिपल आदमी जो आके सफाई करता है. व्हाट यू सेड इज राइट. और 12 बजे की बात है, मेरा जो होस्ट था, ही वाज टेकिंग मी, तो 12 बजे स्टॉप साइन आया, ही स्टॉप. आई सेड यार क्यों रुके, यहाँ तो कोई नहीं है रात में, लेट्स गो. ही सेड नो दैट्स नॉट डन. ही सेड इट्स नॉट फॉर द पुलिस, इट्स माय ड्यूटी एज अ सिटीजन. इफ आई हैव अ स्टॉप साइन, आई शुड स्लो डाउन माय व्हीकल एंड मूव. व्हाट यू हैव सेड. Another thing which you'll be happy to know, last week I was in Delhi for a conference. It was a global conference on road safety initiatives. in which we had about 15-20 countries were participating. I happened to be there with some other my colleagues and other officers, various fields, whereby it has been recommended to the government of India for including traffic rules and traffic related material into the curriculum, which we are trying, but yes, as of now, it is not there, but it has been suggested. You were very right about it.
I want to add some.
Sir,
some more.
I want to raise a question.
Anji, please boliye.
Sir, you have talked about the technologies being used in policing, right? Sir, what about future perspective of using artificial intelligence in policing, sir?
आपने बिल्कुल जनरेटिव एआई तो आजकल फोन्स पे आ गया है.
Sir, how will you use this in the policing particularly?
हम उसको आपको मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ इसका एक जो इसका एग्जांपल जैसे होता है, देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ हॉटस्पॉट. फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे एक जगह कहीं पर चंडीगढ़ में तो शायद कम होता है, यूपी साइड ज्यादा था, किसी स्नैचिंग की घटना हुई. अब आप उसको, जो मेरी ड्यूटी बनती है या मेरे इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर की, कि उस पॉइंट को जियो टैग करके टाइम के साथ वो सिस्टम में एंटर करे. हमारा एक क्राइम क्रिमिनल ट्रैकिंग नेटवर्क सिस्टम CCTNS सिस्टम है जो काफी रोबस्ट चला हुआ है, उसमें वो एंटर करे. तो इस तरह की वारदातें अगर रेगुलर बेस पे एंटर होंगी तो डेटा, ये मैं बोलना भूल गया, अनदर प्रैक्टिस व्हिच वी यूज इज एविडेंस बेस्ड पुलिसिंग. तो इससे ये आएगा कि भाई इस इलाके में इस टाइम पे ये इंसिडेंट होता है, सो अगर उस पर रिपीटेड इंसिडेंट्स होंगे फ्यू किलोमीटर्स, सो दैट बिकम्स अ हॉटस्पॉट ऑफ दैट क्राइम फॉर एग्जाम्पल. तो उस अकॉर्डिंगली हमारे देखिए रिसोर्स की कमी सबके पास होती है, तो मेरी जो पेट्रोल व्हीकल है या पेट्रोल बाइक है या जो बीट कांस्टेबल है, आई कैन डिप्लॉय हिम पर्टिकुलरली फॉर दैट टाइम ऑन दैट रोड टू चेक इट. सो दैट इज द यूज ऑफ बिल्डिंग डेटा एंड यूज ऑफ एआई. एक एग्जांपल दिया मैंने जो हॉटस्पॉट, इस तरह से हम इसको कर सकते हैं कि आप अपने रिसोर्सेज को बेस्ट ऑप्टिमल यूटिलाइजेशन करें टेक्नोलॉजी और एआई के यूज से.
There are certain algorithm already running in our surveillance system at ICCC, where there is an algorithm when there is a unattended lying objective for a certain longer period, an alert is generated into the system. And the ITMS itself is also an artificial intelligence system which allow us to change the timing of signals to see the length or the density of the traffic. Coming back to your question, sir, that was really an interesting subject, and we are at this point of time required to focus on this. Is first of all, we should stop asking our kids, "Beta, padh ke kya banoge?" How many of us are asking, whatever you are learning, are you have the knowledge about your surrounding? Are you aware where you are living? Are you aware about your rights, your responsibilities, and your obligations towards the societies? Because most of us are sending our children to school to become either engineer or doctor or IAS or whatsoever. I mean, we are focusing on a revenue asset. We are making them as a revenue asset, and then we are expecting a moral value out of them. First of all, we have to change our mentality. And we have to see our kids to become a aspirant citizen, a moral-based citizen, first of all, for this country, to see the change on a longer path.
Dr. Rajesh, closing words from you.
मैं डिग्निटरीज और डेलीगेट से एक रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि द नीड ऑफ द आवर इज not the smart cities and sustainable cities. The need of the hour is the smart society and the sustainable society. आप तो रात होते हम लोग डर के मारे किस जगह जा रहे हैं, क्या परेशानी है, इस पर आ जाते हैं. 100 स्मार्ट सिटीज बनाने से देश बहुत आगे नहीं बढ़ जाएगा. स्मार्ट सोसाइटी जो हमारे, और आपने प्रश्न पूछा, प्रश्न में ही उत्तर है और उत्तर में ही प्रश्न है, समस्या में ही समाधान है. यस, व्हाट आर द एलिमेंट्स फॉर बिल्डिंग अ स्मार्ट सोसाइटी मस्ट बी टॉट बाय द पेरेंट्स एंड द टीचर्स एंड द elders and the co-fellows, and whether this society is going to sustain. हर 10 साल पे कहीं पर कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है, कहीं कोई एक पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम में चेंज आता है, दूसरे समस्याएं पैदा हो जाती हैं. यदि स्मार्ट और सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी बन जाएगा तो ये इन सब फोर्स मेजर से उसको कुछ नहीं होना. तो आई अपील, एंड इन माय पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, स्मार्ट सिटीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बट smart societies and sustainable societies is the need of the hour to remain democratic, independent, equal in terms of the essence of the Constitution of India for the times to come. Thank you.
गुप्ता साहब, आपके क्लोजिंग वर्ड्स.
जो कहा है उस समय कि स्मार्ट सिटी, इंस्टेड ऑफ स्मार्ट सिटी वी हैव ए स्मार्ट सोसाइटी that will increase our all security and society. So thank you for
नहीं चलिए, I think we'll close the session. The only thing, as he rightly said, yes, we must think smart, we must act smart. The Honorable PM has asked the police also to be smart. He has defined us, and as we grow, more we interact, more we travel. You see the societies. The only thing I'll end up is that curiosity should never be stopped. Otherwise, we'll never be smart. My last nugget, last closing words to you would be there's one practice which I follow, which I have followed for so many years. Many of you might be doing it. I'm just requesting you. When you finish your day, night, before sleeping, please take out 10-15 minutes, just 10 minutes. And please just recall your day since morning when you woke up. What did you do? How did you do? Did you speak with somebody nicely? Did you misbehave? किसी को आपने खुश किया, किसी को दुखी किया? इसको करके देखिए, सारी बात एक तरफ रखिए. मैं 52 years का हूँ, 52 तो नहीं, लेकिन 20-23 जब से सीखा कर रहा हूँ. 15 minutes of introspection time निकालिए. No gadget, no phone, none. Please do it. Just do it and see. You will understand what I am saying is. आप देख लीजिएगा difference in yourself. If some of you might be doing it, नहीं करते, please करके देखिए. 10 मिनट, 10 से 15 मिनट सिर्फ अपने पूरे दिन का. मैंने क्या किया, क्या नहीं. Just honestly reflect. Nothing else. You will get the answers. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I am happy that I could give my time and be here. Thank you very much.